Listen, there's an orchestra in my kitchen. Listen, listen to the orchestra in my kitchen. A wooden spoon and a great big pot. Bang them together and what have we got? A dum 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 da dum. Listen to my drum.
Viktor Frankl said, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms. To choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's way." This is Finding Human with Sue Jackson. Stay tuned for the next hour as Sue explores the human psyche, what makes us tick, and how to live better, more fulfilled and more meaningful lives. Only on 101.9 High FM.
Our topic is the rhythm of life. Welcome, Wendy. It's so good to have you here. Wendy, welcome. It's so good to have you.
Thanks so much. It's so lovely to connect with you again, and thank you for having me.
We've known each other for a long time, haven't we?
Sure have, yeah. I've been
Wendy is a musician, a composer, an author, a poet, an artist, and many other genres. And to tell you the truth, she fits in with all that Viktor Frankl says, the different ways that meaning can be found, the creative things we do, the uplifting things we experience, and the kind of attitude that we take towards unavoidable suffering. Wendy, tell me about when you realized that you were actually a very creative little person. Were you little at the time?
I don't think I ever thought of myself as a very creative person. But my interest in music started when I was a little girl. My mother was a pianist, fantastic pianist. And my father used to have a collection of those old records, you know, those very large, I don't know, what were they, extended play or something.
Big LPs.
Yes, and all the ballet music and the Tchaikovsky. And as a little girl, I used to actually listen to those. I remember traveling from, because we grew up in Germiston, traveling from Germiston on that old airport road with my mom if we ever had to go to Johannesburg. And we would sing in the car. And I would sing the tune and my mother would harmonize. And that's sort of when I first became aware of the harmony in music. And I also remember coming home from school and rushing to the radio to put on the, was it Betty Mashaka used to have her program of children's music. And I listened to that every single day. And I knew which songs were good and which were not, and which voices I liked and which I didn't. I didn't like those operatic voices, you know, the la, those high, you know.
Yeah.
I liked the nice, gentle voices. And so that's where I sort of started my interest in music.
So you actually had an ear for music from a very young age. You know that Victor Hugo says, music expresses that which cannot be said and on which it is impossible to be silent.
Mm-hmm.
When you write your music,
yeah,
do you feel it as you're writing it?
Sometimes it flows out just like a river, and it just comes and you know that it's right. And sometimes just a phrase comes and then I've got to build on it and work on it. So it depends. It depends on the mood and my inspiration of the day or the night. And usually it's the night, because I can wake up in the middle of the night and just have an idea and wow, got to take my pen and paper and write down the idea.
We're going to get back to that in a moment.
This is Finding Human with Sue Jackson, only on 101.9 High FM.
I'm back with Wendy Fine, let me just say that again. And Wendy was talking about when she actually gets her ideas. Wendy is a musician, a writer, she's a poet, and so she gets these ideas. And Shakespeare said, when words fail, music speaks. And yet, Wendy, you use your words and your music together. How do you come to this? What actually happens when these thoughts come into your head, or how do they come in?
I somehow get some kind of inspiration. It just comes to me. I don't think anything that I see or hear inspires me really. It just somehow comes just intuitively, and it flows, and it's just something that I kind of harness, and it's just been amazing to be able to put down the music and the words, and then get to record them, and that was quite an amazing experience for me.
So when do they normally come through, during the day or at night, or what
Yes,
actually
yes.
happens?
In the middle of the night, I can wake up in the middle of the night and get this sort of inspiration, and I always have a pen and paper next to my bed, and whatever time it is, I'll get up and write down some words or some phrases, or and then I've got my little my phone recorder, and then I'll sing a little tune, that's come into my head, because you'll never ever remember it in the morning, that's for sure. Because I know that if I don't write it down immediately or capture it on the recorder, it's gone forever. So that's been very useful to me. Thank goodness for all that technology.
I'm sure it has, but it must. How does your husband handle that when you suddenly are humming a tune next to him?
It's very quiet. I go under the blankets and just quietly sing the song, sing the little phrase that I've got, and it's captured there.
Oh, good. Wendy, just tell me this poem that you wrote, which is just so incredibly beautiful. Ernest Hemingway said, "Write hard and clear about what hurts." You're going to be reading that poem a short while later, but tell me how it actually impacted you with this COVID time. What has it done? Well, how have you felt?
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly. At the beginning, when we were sort of, in lockdown and not seeing family, I really missed my family, and I really missed my 3 granddaughters. And when I started writing the poem, it was really to them, about how much I missed them and that I couldn't hold them. And that's how it started. And then it developed into a whole sort of, I can't say dissertation, but exploration of how the COVID was affecting my life and other people's lives and every country in the world. And again, I've never written a poem in my life. I've written children's, rhymes and songs, but I've never really written a poem, and it again just came to me. And I can't even say that it was planned. It just happened.
And then it went viral. I mean, it's actually on YouTube.
Well, what happened was I saw that there was something on YouTube, on Zoom. They were doing a Poetica evening, and they invited you to come and listen to people reading their poems. And I thought, okay, I'll join in and watch them read their poems. And I watched, and they read these poems. First 2 poems, I did not understand one word. I didn't know what the guy was talking about. And then there were a few lovely poems. And then after about 40 minutes, the convener said, well, is there anybody out there who'd like to read their poem? And I just sat there, of course. And my husband, Brian, walked past, and he heard them say, come on, is there anybody who wants to read their poem? And I was sitting there, and he said, come on, read it. And so I gingerly put up my hand, and they said, yes, what's your name? Yeah, Wendy, thank you. Would you like to read your poem? And I read the poem. And afterwards, she said she was quite taken, by surprise. And she said, that was absolutely fabulous. And
did you have everyone crying at that stage? Was she in tears like I was?
There were a few people that were sort of emotionally moved, yes. Mm.
because it definitely tells a story. And
Mm.
it is the story of, I think, what everyone's feeling at the moment, that sense of loss, of anxiety, of what we have missed.
Yes.
It's become very real to all of us. Now, Wendy, you know, when I said that about Viktor Frankl and all the different, these ways of finding meaning, the creative way and everything, you once told me that you were a very shy young girl,
Oh,
a little
gosh.
girl.
I was immensely shy. I was petrified to talk or to stand up in class or to even call an auntie. I remember not being able to pick up the phone and say, "Hello, Auntie Sarah." You know, I could not say her name on the telephone. I used to hide behind these big flower pots on our verandas to avoid being seen by any neighbors that were walking past. I was really very, very shy, and
That's amazing.
and I sort of went through school just going, you know, very in the background and not really standing out at all.
We'll get back to that in a moment.
This is Finding Human with Sue Jackson, only on 101.9 High FM.
Hello, this is Sue Jackson, and I'm back with Wendy Fine. And I'm hoping you can all hear us clearly because I'm picking up a lot of static as I'm waiting for the to come back on air each time. So I'm hoping I'm not interrupting. But Wendy, you were saying how shy you were, and then also you actually chose your attitude. How? Tell me about that.
Yeah. What happened was, as a teenager, I suffered a lot of pain in back problems and pain. And when I was 15, I had to go into one of these awful, revolting back braces. It was rock hard around the body, and then it had steel coming right up to the neck, and it pulled me up like this. And for that year of my 15th year, my 16th year, I suppose, I had to walk around in this brace. And I sort of thought to myself, I don't want to be the girl in the brace. I can't be this quiet, shy person. And somehow I brought something out of myself, and I came out of myself and somehow got more personality out, if you that kind of.
So you made a conscious choice to actually become somebody.
Well, I did make
not
a conscious,
not a person in a brace.
Yes, exactly. It was a conscious thought. I thought, and I remember the very day that I did that, because there were some young guys and girls in a room, and I thought, you know what? I'm sitting here, the girl in the brace, and I just sort of opened up. And from that day onwards, it was connection. There was a connection with
You
me and
flew.
other.
You know, there's there was a very well-known logotherapist, Jerry Long, and as a young man, a young boy of about 17, he dove into a channel in America of water, thinking it was very deep, and he broke his neck.
Right.
And he was paralyzed from the neck down. And he actually said, it's broken my neck, but it has not broken me. And that's literally what you said. You know, you said, I'm far more than this brace. Wendy, I would really like you to read your poem, if you don't mind, and start with the heading and then read it. I'd love everyone to hear.
Okay, it's called, and remember, this is when I started off, I was really talking to my granddaughters, and it's called, What's the Point of Singing My Song? What's the point of singing my song if I can't sing face to face? What's the point of the love in my arms when I can't hold you in my embrace? What's the point of paint on my brush, but it dries before the canvas accepts it? And what's the point of keeping safe when some just don't respect it? We've become one fearful family. As one, we're indivisible, yearning, fighting to be free of twisted webs invisible, armed with gel and gloves and masks, hows and whys and question marks, each on our private island, while highways remain silent, while the trees keep growing and the rivers keep flowing. We are stuck, unknowing, where the hell are we going? Alone as we huddle, marooned in our cocoon, in our shiny bubble, I fumble for a tune, but my heart and voice is breaking, aching, quaking, afraid to take a breath. Is it fresh or is it death? Need for pine boxes mounting, hear hammers and nails sounding to the beat of hearts pounding and every country counting. And then another number never waking from deep slumber, and another heart is breaking as another soul is taken. But wait, a baby's cry of hope and new beginning, and love takes over now as the world continues spinning. Hear hearts once heavy singing, brand new breezes bringing another world to live in, though never quite the same. There's beauty, it's different, magical, significant. As the light begins to rise and it slowly brings relief, we lift our tired eyes in unspeakable belief, and the web loses its hold on the fragile and the bold. It's like a choir before us, and each heart sings the hallelujah chorus as the foe takes wings. So know you'll hear my song again when we meet after this haze, and know that the love in my arms will surround you one of these days. I'll sing you my song as my arms enfold you. I'll show you my paintings just as I told you. No distance between us. We'll walk in the street. We'll touch, we'll hug whenever we meet. The song I write now has a start, but no end. Let's imagine the chorus and voices that blend, and the boat we were in that uncharted sea, is now an ark to sail us into peaceful harmony.
Thank you, Wendy. That is just so beautiful. I mean, it's brought tears to my eyes again. You know, the power in those words. You speak for us all, you really do. And if anyone would like to actually see Wendy reading her poem, go on to Google and Google her, and it will come up. Put there Wendy Fine and poem, and you'll see her actually reading on YouTube. Did you know that, or didn't you know? Now, you know, there is the say, turn the pain into power. And quite honestly, as you start off your poem with its pain and its, if I can't sing face to face, what's the point of the love in my arms? So, you know, there's that pain, and then you turn it into the peaceful harmony that we'll touch, we'll hug whenever we meet. And it's from pain to power. That is just so beautiful. It really is.
Thank you.
Wendy, going back to you and your songs, because we haven't mentioned your songs. And after one of the ad breaks, we've actually got a song. We're going to be ending with your very well-known Golden Globe one, literally, the My Dog Joe. Yeah. But you have brought out many albums, and certainly my children all remember them. And, you know, I think there is a resurgence again of children actually needing your songs, because they're you and Judy have also brought out quite a few together, and very much involved with the environment, with connection. And lately you brought out one on bullying, you and Judy. And I have interviewed Judy with that. That's the Got to Say No.
Yes, right.
Now, but long before this was fashionable to actually talk about the environment, you were speaking about the environment. Why was that so important then? I mean, that was the 1980s.
Are you talking about environmental songs about the world and that the one?
Yes, the green and the green means go.
Okay.
And okay.
I suppose
We've got one coming up, Green, Lovely Green.
I suppose you know, I saw these themes, and there were many of these themes about the environment that came to mind, and they kind of flowed from one to the other, and that became a collection for that album. So it seems that I did sort of think in themes when it came to recording. So I did that one, and then there was the one we did with Judy with the movement, and actually two with movement. Then I did the Hebrew, the holiday for the holidays, Chag Sameach. So there were quite a few that sort of had their themes, so.
And your grandchildren, are they involved with you in your singing, or do they sing along with you like you did with your mom?
They are not very keen to do that, unfortunately. I wish I could. But they're not too keen to sing along with me. They did listen to my music. I think now they are listening to a little bit more upbeat stuff.
Yeah.
But I do pass everything by them. So when I write something, I do go to them and say, what do you think of this? And I get some very honest opinions from them.
Okay, so you know that that's where your honesty comes from.
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely.
And do you play the piano? Do you play a musical instrument?
I say I play the piano. I used to play the piano, and I play it well enough now to be able to know exactly what chords I'm using, so that I can tell the actual arranger, look, I want this chord B flat here and diminished whatever it is over there. And but I will never say that I can play the piano for anyone. But
isn't that amazing? Because your mom was a well-known pianist.
A well-known pianist. She could have been a music teacher. She wrote music for plays and programs and presentations, and she wrote a lot of very, very beautiful music, which I still have actually.
Is that so? Isn't that funny? So you never actually took after her in playing the piano?
Not in a serious way, no.
But in a different way you did.
Yes, yes.
Now, the other thing I want to ask you, you know, going back to the attitudinal choices that Viktor Frankl talks about, that every day there's a demand quality of our lives, and every day something is demanded of us, moment by moment, actually. Something is demanded of us. Who do we want to be? Who do we want to become? Now, I know, because I have known you for a long time, and when I was in Australia quite a few years ago, when Judy's son Gary was getting married, you were at the time, you introduced me to a special machine for back pain. But you were in a lot of pain at the time.
Yes.
Do you live with pain all your life, Wendy?
I live with pain daily. Daily, absolutely. Every day I wake up with pain.
So what makes you get up? What makes you have the courage to face the day?
I think that all my pursuits, the music, my art, my I play bridge, I do collage work, and I've got a lot to do. And I do find that when I get involved, either in the singing, well, singing of course does kind of relax your muscles in a way, and you I think it's very therapeutic, and all the painting and the work that I do dabble in on canvases and that, I find it very therapeutic, and it does make me forget about my pains while I'm doing it.
And do you have, well, I'm sure you have a lot of support from your husband, Brian, and other family members in this?
Yes,
But
yes.
I do remember at the time when I was in Australia, you had almost like a roster of friends who were coming to work with this machine on your back. Do you remember that?
I did. It's a long time ago. You know that I since then have had a very, very big surgical procedure. And since that procedure, I am very much more stable and I can get around. Had I not had that, I would actually be in a wheelchair today. So I'm very grateful for that. And that's what keeps me going, that I can actually stand, I can cook, and I can stand at a lift, at an elevator, and which I couldn't do before. I was always looking for the next chair, the next seat. Once or twice, a friend had to take me shopping in a wheelchair because it was I had so much pain. So I'm mobile and I can do things. So I'm very grateful for that.
So do you think out of your pain and out of that experience has come a lot of your work, not necessarily your artwork, but your words and the words of your songs?
I wouldn't say directly. I don't think directly, because I think that the music was always inside of me, and I don't think that the pain has actually been any sort of tool or any sort of measure to influence my writing.
What about friendships? When Viktor Frankl talks about the experiential values of life, which are normally the things that are free, like the nature, music, the music of the world, of the universe, that sort of music, friendships, relationships, religion. What of those give meaning to your life?
Well, friendship is so important to me. It was through the friendship of the girls at school that we did a lot of singing together and a lot of concerts together. And I'm still in contact with quite a few of my old friends. And I think that is, friends are just the most important thing. Just to connect with people is one of the most important things to me, just reaching out to people, and even people who are not known to me and who are not, who are strangers. I just find it so important to connect with people on any level. I mean, I remember actually traveling on a ferry one day on Sydney Harbour, and there was an American lady. It was packed. I think it was New Year's Day or something. There was an American lady sitting next to me, and I decided I would talk to her, and we started chatting. It turned out that she lived next door to my cousin in California. I mean, you talk to people and you get the most amazing things happen, and it's happened so many times, so I find that connection and reaching out is very important to me.
And I think that's something that is actually, in many ways, I don't know about Australia, but it's certainly something about South Africa and South Africans. I remember my sons being on the train in London on the Underground, and they could not believe that nobody greeted each other and that everyone just sat either opening their newspapers, or it was before the time of cell phones. Now I suppose everyone's on their cell phones, but they could not believe it. So my younger son, Mark, decided on an experiment and started talking literally nonsense to his brother, and they started to laugh like anything, but nobody else did. Nobody joined in. I think it is uniquely South African that we do. You don't ever pass somebody. I'm going to have to get back to that in a moment.
This is Finding Human with Sue Jackson. only on 101.9 High FM.
Hello, this is Sue Jackson, and I'm back with Wendy Fine. We've had a few hitches today with our program, but at least we have connected with each other. Apparently, that was played, Wendy, that song. I hope it was, because we didn't hear it. But it was the song Green, Green, you and Judy singing it. And as I said, I find it quite amazing that the two of you are so into conservation, environmental healing, and it's quite amazing.